All right, so if you're on social media or even a part of a club, a team, family, or a workspace, then more than likely you're susceptible to public embarrassment. Embarrassment can be so extreme that it drives you into depression. How do you recover from that? Well, Associate Counseling Psychologist Camille Campbell joins us for this discussion. Morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Smile Jamaica.
And thank you for having me.
Embarrassment is what? Embarrassment is what?
Okay, embarrassment is something that you do to yourself, right? And so it's a feeling, an unpleasant feeling, but it is not as deep as humiliation, right? So when you're embarrassed, it is applied to you. It's what you do, so you have control over how you feel about it. So you can laugh it off, and you can spin it anyhow you want to spin it.
I kind of feel like, personally, I kind of don't get embarrassed. I mean, we make mistakes here, I move on. It's not like I go home and I say, God, what me do on TV? So, but people react to things like that differently, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So embarrassment is your reaction or your response to something? Is that really what it is, your response?
Right, to what you do.
Right.
However, humiliation is what somebody else do to you, and it's an unpleasant feeling which lasts much deeper, because with humiliation, embarrassment can lead to humiliation. So embarrassment is, it's not publicized, so only you know about it, or maybe few people know about it, and something you can laugh off, right? However, when it turns into humiliation, it is when it is made public. And so when it's made public, you lose a status that you have claimed to yourself.
So if I see her on the road and say, go, I mean, like, you're here, that is, I'm humiliating her?
That's not humiliating her, because she really hasn't lost anything, right? Okay, this is, for example, a student has always been getting grade A grade, right? And so they take onto themselves, I'm an A grade student.
Right.
Right, so they did an exam and they got B. They may feel embarrassed, but when this is made public, they're no longer a grade A student because they have lost that status claim.
So that's humiliation, then?
That's humiliation, because you can't get it back, because you're no longer a straight A student because you have now gotten a B. So your response, people's response to humiliation may be different. You can get angry, depending on the situation. Some people may even fantasize of revenge. Right?
So I'm trying to look at a case that I saw. It's an alopecia, when your hair, is that what's called, when you lose your hair?
Right.
And I remember there was a Boston video that went viral where the women were pulled off the lady's hair and didn't understand her condition and made fun of her. That's a case of humiliation.
Public humiliation.
Public humiliation.
Yes, it is.
And how deep does it go for one's psyche? How does it affect somebody when you're humiliated?
Okay, when you're public humiliated, it can affect you mentally, because one of the most common mental health issues that you find associated with public humiliation is really anxiety, depression, people even going to suicide, as far as suicide, because you have lost something, right? And so people's response, you become angry. People will want to leave out of that situation to avoid being seen, because it's hard to recover.
But how do you recover?
Okay, you recover by working on your self-esteem, because that is what is damaged most. You lost your value, your self-esteem is affected, your self-value is affected, your self-worth is affected, right? And so you work on your self-esteem so that you can come to terms with the humiliation and rebrand yourself.
And then how do you work on that? How do I, if my self-esteem is low, how do I get more confidence?
So you identify your strengths. So instead of focusing on what you lose, you identify the positive things about you, identify your strength. And you can also use that negative experience,
to
turn it into something positive.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do. I think when you hear about successful people, they always talk about their story. You know, the reason I did this was because of my negative experience. Right. So I guess that's a way of looking at it, asking yourself, how can I help others in this situation or turn this to a positive? What else can we do to heal through this embarrassing humiliation?
Okay, understanding that it is not necessarily you alone, right? So there are other persons who have gone through humiliation. So group is very important in helping you to heal, because what you do is learn from each other. So if you can identify persons, which probably not so hard to find, who have gone through humiliation, and then you work together, understanding how others have gone through humiliation, and take from it. It's what applies to you to help you.
It's
along.
easier said than done, though, isn't it?
Yes,
because
it
as
is.
you said, people go into depression, even suicidal thoughts. Because go back to the example that you use. So I used to get straight A's, then I do an exam and I get a C. Does that not make me kind of feel, say, well, I'm too want to do no more exam because I can't take this C thing because I was, you know.
Like a giving up kind of mentality.
Yeah, so it's not easy to just bounce back and say, all right, I get a C, next one I just go and deal with it again. That's not easy to do, is it?
No, but it's what you tell yourself. So it's what you feed yourself with. So what you can do, what we normally do as psychologists, is help people to understand the message that they give to themselves. So you listen to your self-talk.
But let's look at the new generation. You know, we're so caught up in vanity metrics, social media, how many likes, who doesn't like me. And I find in the world I live with young people, they're quick to humiliate their peers.
Yes.
You know, size, weight, hair, color of skin, we see it all the time. And it's devastating for a young person to be humiliated in that space, you know, and it's uncontrollable. They read the comments and, you know, what advice would you give to the perpetrators and the victims of humiliation, teenagers and youth watching right now?
For the perpetrators, they are responding to their own situation. And so then you will have to find out the source. What is it that is influencing this child to, for example, be a bully, right? What is it that they're getting from it? Because normally when children portray negative behavior, it is something that they're responding to, is either something that they want or something that they're avoiding, right? And so you identify, help the child to identify what is it that they're trying to achieve by bullying, and you find an alternative so that they can achieve that same thing without having to be a bully, so to speak.
Right. Okay. And those who are on the end of the stick receiving this humiliation, how can teenagers get help?
Okay. Being a victim of bullying as a child or a teenager, it affects you, your self-worth, your self-esteem, as I said earlier. And so you help the child to identify their strengths and look at it, the situation, the experience, because in truth is really how you perceive the situation, because you and I can be humiliated in the same way, but we respond differently based on how we perceive or how, our own perception of the experience.
Can I tell you how I respond?
How you respond,
try to
right?
embarrass or humiliate me? Because I don't know if you've been there, but I have. I either delete them, I sneeze on them, achoo. Yeah, and I talk back. I stand up and let them know. Oh, I have received it. Yeah. Gloves up. That's how I respond. Some people back down, as you said, and sit in depression. So last words of advice in dealing with a humiliating situation?
Okay, last advice is really how you look at the situation, how you perceive the situation. So do not allow yourself to be a victim, right? But rise above the situation by telling yourself positive things, telling yourself that things that can help you to get past, rebrand yourself, find a new focus.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
She's Camille, and she's Camille.
Yeah,
Campbell.
she's C-A-M-I
Associate
Right.
Constant Psychologist.
L-L-E, and I'm C-A-M-I-E-L-L-E. Hey, twinning! You know, my family have a gap in them teeth like that. I love the gap. Yes, I do. Forget it. Tell them what to do. Let's us talk. Girl,
All
you
right,
from St.
folks,
Elizabeth?
up next, it's all about A Way to Africa. Suko.
You said Africa? We're going?